All right, hey everyone, it's Saturday, and I've got a couple of hours here to do a bit of a stream. I was going to do one last night, but unfortunately, it was a Friday night, and I ran out of steam. Whoa! Totally old manish of me. Anywho, let's talk some Moho. So, I'm Nathan Bonner. I'm the creator of Indavo, both the webcomic and the animated series, and I'm doing all the assets, music, character design, actual animation, voice recording, working with a ton of very talented local actors to get the voices down, which makes my job a lot easier because they're great. And again, for those who did not read what the assignment was, my goal has always been to kind of match, and sometimes in some places exceed, your average Doctor Who reconstruction of the animated variety. Such as, you go to YouTube, and if you put in something like Evil of the Daleks, that's one of the gold standards. That and the Macro Terror, excellent. I'm probably somewhere right now above Power of the Daleks, because they were a little clunky with their Adobe Animate, and I think I'm probably somewhere around the Faceless Ones, if I being very generous with myself. That's only because I'm really compositing the heck out of my Moho animation in After Effects, giving that extra oomph to my sort of tweened animation out of Moho, and my frame by frame. There's very few frame by frame shots. I'm going to endeavor to always include a few in each episode to kind of get better at it. I'm animating on threes because I'm not psychopathic. I know there are many animators out there who are doing entire frame by frame episodes, 22 minutes, 12 frames a second. That's not something I can do. I'm sticking to 8, and that's where it's going to be. So, let's talk Moho. Okay, so what we have here is, this is a security tech guy. Well, actually, he's an Empire of the Sword tech. And what I have done is I have already changed up the colors. There's been very few changes, other than the color of his uniform. They're all kind of bald with those Flash Gordon agent glasses on. Yes. And I just changed up the color of the uniform, and I did change the face shape ever so slightly, in order to give us a little bit of a different dude. And so let me go ahead and do one more thing here on this before we hit the old save, because we're going to kind of stretch out his head just a little bit more to give him a little bit more of a difference there. Okay, so he'll be similar but yet slightly different. Ever seen people come out on boot camp? They all kind of look alike because they're all shaved heads. Anyway, so yeah, and different heights of the characters will be done whenever I can pop this guy in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, which I have repurposed from another guy, and we're going to make him into a new character. Now, this character is a one-off character in another one-off character, just like the captain of the Kurden, who will show up for a very short bit in episode 2. And spoiler, he's actually a Maraz in disguise. Ooh, Geeling is his real name. And he's going to be up to no good, infiltrating the palace of the Empire of the Sword, which, of course, is sword-shaped. Yeah, so I made up this huge sword-shaped space station. I thought I was being so original, and as I've said before, you know, I Googled it. I Googled sword-shaped space station in Google, and it just showed me a bunch of images of some NASA-esque illustrations, and I was like, okay, nothing this looks like an actual sword. So I did that, I posted it, and everyone immediately was like, oh, that's Kang's Sword of Damocles space station. That doesn't even fit Kang's idiom at all. Because he used all high-tech weapons, and this is a sword. I mean, shouldn't it be a giant blaster or something like that? Fusion grenade? I don't know. Anyway, enough of me ranting about my every idea that I have has had been done before. Let me quit ranting about that. And let's get started. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to save this file. And this guy doesn't have a name. But what will happen after his shorter appearance is that he will also be retooled with different hair color and whatnot. And I always forget to loop the music. That's unfortunate. Or maybe it's fortunate for you. I don't know. So he'll be repurposed with different hair color and maybe a slightly different, height or something like that, maybe wider or something like that. And to be a background character later when we get into the throne room and meet the Emperor of the Sword and his chief technical advisor. So, but more on that in episode 3. Ooh. Actually, they're already done. Dagon and that technical advisor are already done. It's going to be kind of awkward because her name is Callie, and Callie Link is the voice of Ratty, and so this could be confusing. Anyway. So that's... Yes. Okay, so we're going to put him in the here, and we're going to change that name. Change this name here. All right. And right here I have security tech in the name of the model. This is what will show up in the scene, so we kind of need to change that too. There we go. I should have thought up a name for him. It's kind of really lackluster of me to do so. So what are we going to do here? Well, we've got a head up, down, and a head turn. And you know what? Because he's going to have 2 heads, I'm going to delete out these bones. And so we're going to make, on the head file, where it says head here, this is going to be turned into a Vitruvian bone setup, and there will be 2 heads in there because he's a Mara, so at some point his head's going to change back to that of the alien. Fun fact, the alien leader, the Leo leader from episode 1, when he changed to a Mazra, that head, I tried to replace the Leonid head with the Mara's head, and of course it malfunctioned pretty badly. So for most scenes, that head's actually on a separate layer, completely not attached to the body whatsoever, and I'm using my layer transform tool to match the head movements up to the body movements so he stays on the neck. And sometimes it's effective, and sometimes you could probably go back and tell now, so I'm telling on myself I should never do that, but these are my flaws, look at them. Anyway. Alright, so I'm deleting that out, and I'm actually going to also delete out this head file. We don't really need it right now, and okay, brand new head, so we'll just delete that out. Bam. Okay, so what we have here is we have a neck. So I'm going to make a new folder, new group. I'm going to change this to head _ guard to reassure that everyone that this guy is actually a Malaran still. So now that he's there, we're going to change this to face. Okay, the challenge here is to make him look different from the Captain of Círdan, because they both kind of had similar planned hairstyles, so we may have to play with that a little bit, but he's got a much more of a robust features, I'd say, a little bit less on the thin side. So this is going to be difficult to do, but he's still got this thinnish body. In fact, let's see to that immediately. Here, let's go back out to here to reset view. Okay, so let's have him select the bone layer. This selects the entire thing. We're going to go to layer translate. We're going to kind of broaden him out a little bit. And just a little bit there. Make him just a bit taller. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put the face into the head file. Okay. And, you know what, just for the part of it, what we're going to do is we're going to do the group with selection. And we're going to change this into heads. Okay, now we're ready to begin. So we're going to go up here to the neck. And let's get started. Usually what I do is I usually start with a shape, and usually something like, oh, look at that, I'm done. Gonna make that joke this time. Let's take a look at the styles and see what we've got on our style sheet. Okay. Take that down to 2. Okay. Right, those styles. So keep it white for right now. I was trying to go ahead and do most of the initial setup with the white, and I'll add the color in later. Just kind of like before. In fact, this is going to be rather similar in some cases to what I did before. So, repetitious. Well. However, like I said, we will be doing the whole Vitruvian thing later, which will allow me to swap between head rigs, because his head, all the smart bones are going to be attached to his guard head. File folder here will be turned into a bone file, and then this will be turned into a Vitruvian bone system up here. It'll be great. Wonderful. And then I'll add in the Mother Eyes head. I don't think I'm going to be able to import that directly in. Well, I might be able to if I'm making Vitruvian bones. It will be an experiment to see if it will malfunction again. If it malfunctions again, I'll have to re-rig the Ra's head after I put it in. That's fine. Whatever. It's okay. It'll be fine. But I think... So I'm going to just add in some points. I think we can do this. So using the add point tool here to add in a slew of points, because he's going to have to turn his head 360 degrees. Because in my storyboards, I've got, shots of him from behind, from the side, from the front, 3/4 views. It's all over the place. Well, sometimes you got to storyboard out what you got to storyboard out. If it calls for it, you got to go for it. So. His head, though, is a little... Let's see here. Mm-hmm. 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 It's going to have a little bit more of a blockier head, as I believe I mentioned before, but I want to make sure that we can get that blockier, get those cheeks in there. Ooh, he's looking Quagmire-ish. That's important. That's a thing about art. Sometimes when you start seeing things, you can't unsee them. And now I'm totally seeing Quagmire. I'm not going to do the voice. No. If you're thinking, is he going to do the voice? No, I'm not. Restraining myself from doing the voice. All right, let's take a look at this guy's chin. He does have a squared off chin, but... Oh man, this is totally... Oh, it's getting worse. One time I was in a live drawing class and we had to draw a professor, and I started drawing him and he looked like Lloyd Bridges and I couldn't shake it. And the professor did not really look like Lloyd Bridges. If you wonder who Lloyd Bridges was, he's a guy from Airplane who continually... It's a very old movie from 1980? Probably 1980. In which... It's a great comedy. Horrifically inappropriate in the modern era. Anyway, Lloyd Bridges is an actor. He was in a lot of other things too, including Battlestar Galactica, the classic series as Admiral Kane. The true Admiral Kane. That's sure to call some people. I'm gonna get some downvotes on that one. Well. I can't help it if I enjoy my sci-fi to be a little bit more cheesy and a little bit more on the family viewing side. You need things to be on the family viewing side, because if you don't have those, you're not going to get the youths interested in sci-fi, and eventually they won't care, and sci-fi will stop getting made. You'll only get the dark and gritty stuff, and I think you should also get the lighter stuff too. You can. So, all right, so I'm looking at this head, and it's like way too wide. And, okay, let me recenter this right here. This tool here is called the Set Origin Point, and this will allow me to scale. It's always settled almost down in the middle of the document. You need to kind of get into the middle of your shape. This will make scaling and any translation that you're doing with the layer tool a heck of a lot easier. So, pro tip. Am I scaling my composition? I am scaling my composition. I don't want to do that. So let's go back to here. Let's go to here. Let's go to make sure that we are at 2 points. I don't think we're at 2 points. It says we're at 2 points, but I don't think we are at 2 points. That's gonna have to be. I'm gonna ramp up the strength on the select all. Gonna match his other lines. There we go. All right, now these guys can go back down. Probably shouldn't have selected them anyway, but that's fine. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, he'll have some temple lines, I guess you would call them. Skull lines? Yeah, I don't know. Like right here and right here. Ooh, nope, that second one did not go well because the angle of my hand was all wrong. Let's move that. Ooh, let's move that over. Here we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. Hey, so that's his primary facial bits. Not bad. I'm going to break protocol and actually go ahead and use my shape select tool, select the shape, use the eyedropper for the fill, and we're going to go ahead and change him up to get him into his proper tone of his flesh, skin. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and go to new layer vector, and we're going to rename this guy as to the nose. The nose. And we're going to go ahead and take off scale composition. Okay, let me take this breakdown here. Okay, so this is the layer setting. Sometimes when you double click on the name of the layer, you can change it, and sometimes it'll open up this panel. Probably not clicking fast enough or too fast, whichever. Anyway, this is scale composition. I need this off. Now, some productions, like the aforementioned Doctor Who animated reconstructions, their characters have scale composition. That means whenever they're drawn, the lines will appear, whenever the character is small on screen, the lines will appear very thin. But when they scale up to a close-up, the lines get very, very thick because they're scaling the lines. This is not a bad effect. This is kind of what I did on the Fiery Vengeance, the 2 episodes of Indavo that I did previously. And it's not bad. But I wanted to get a more anime-esque line strength. So the line remains consistently at 2 points, no matter what size the character is. That's much more in line with what you get out of anime, because in anime they're actually tracing over it, sometimes in Clip Paint Studio Pro. But not with the pen tool. No, they're using the curved line tool primarily. It's interesting. Anyway, more on that later when I get to some frame by frame. So, all right. Let's make a nose. Now, this guy's nose is a bit of a problem. Wow, he's got a crinkly thing. But let's see what we can do here. Okay. It's kind of got like a 1940s boxer nose. I need to talk to you for a second, you know what I'm saying? Wow. That thing up there. Whoa. That's kind of maybe some that a little bit. Okay. Okay, the bridging out. Okay, this one, it's gonna. Am I gonna hook it down like that? Yeah, maybe I will. I know what, I don't think so. Yeah, I gotta give it a little bit more. Nicky the nose. Alright. So some of these lines are not going to survive, obviously. These, I think, are going to be the outer, most of these are going to be the outer lines, and very few of them are actually going to make it. So these guys right here will probably be the tips of his nostrils. There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is put another shape here. Okay. Now we're just going to kind of match up somewhat where everything's at. Again, not all of these lines are going to actually be visible at all times. So you need shapes with no lines to hide, essentially, hide the Wow, that's a broad bridge. Let's go for it. To hide the other layers that are going to be behind this, like the eyes or whatnot. Okay, so that being the case, let's do some hiding here. Use the hide edge tool to hide nearly all. Ooh, interesting. I don't know. I might want to do that. Okay, yeah, we're doing that. All right, circle tool here. Do some more add points here. Crap. I grabbed the wrong one. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's undo that. That's the right number of points that I need. Sometimes things will malfunction. Don't panic. There's always the undo. Unless there isn't, and then you may panic, I suppose, if you must. I mean, if that's your thing, who am I to stop you? My advice would be not to panic. There you go, that's better. There we go. Get some line differencing in here to kind of simulate thickness. All right, hey, that's great. I'm going to take this nostril. That's another thing we need to do. Absolutely. Positively, absolutely another thing that we need to do right at this exact moment. And that is, you need to go to the nose. And although you can't see it, what we're going to do is I'm bringing this over here. Yeah, here we go, vectors. Okay, so animate shape order. We're going to click that guy right there, and we're going to click OK. Just assume that I'm clicking OK. Okay, hey, we got that thing here. And we're going to do the same for the face. So you go to the vectors tab, and you click animate shape order, and you'll get these little dashes. These are like shapes that you could animate in order. So right now, this is the default order of how things are going to be. So we're going to copy that guy right here. We're going to move him right there. Yeah. Point to transform to on the shift key. And there we go. We got a bit of a nose. So let's kind of more. Nostril kind of looked a little bit too big there suddenly. This isn't bad. Now, looking at my drawing here of from the storyboards, which are done in great haste, his nose is slightly different. So I'm going to do a little bit of revamping here. Excuse me, 1 second. Okay, remember that your hotkey for select is G, and then your hotkey for activate the translator is T. Sometimes you can select while you're in your translation, and sometimes you cannot. So a little bit of that thing there. Don't need that. We're gonna shrink this guy down. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just gonna leave him right where he's at. Okay, I'm gonna need to translate that up a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, it's much better to what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna delete that other nostril. And this nostril right here, which I have perfected, I'm going to take and flip that guy over here. And ka-chow. Okay. So, like I said, I'm currently working on a character for Indavo episode 2. I'm also still drawing the Tales of the Big Money Monster number 2, which will be out on June the 21st, available at the Big Muddy Monster Fest in Murfreesboro, Illinois. It's to be a monstrously good time. Again, the Big Muddy Monster is Murfreesboro, Illinois' own cryptid. A Bigfoot-ish creature, except it has red eyes, fangs, smells terrible, makes a horrendous noise, and has a lighter fur color than most of your Bigfoots. More of a tannish, beigeish color. Very tall. The Big Muddy River runs through Murfreesboro, and that's it's a double meaning. It's the Big Muddy Monster because of the river is the Big Muddy River, and it's also a big monster covered in mud. At least from the waist up, anyway. So, if you want to know more about creatures like this, I suggest you check out the Invasion of Chestnut Ridge, which was available on Amazon Prime. It's a nice thing. It talks about in 1973, the same year the first sighting of the big money monster in Murfreesboro, in Pennsylvania, there were sightings of similar creatures. So, fun stuff there. Now, whether you believe in the monster or not is kind of immaterial. I've always said, if you live in Loch Ness and you're not making plush Nessies, what the hell are you doing, man? All right, this nose looks like it is pretty on par to where we need it to be. And for now, we're going to just go ahead and get these guys. Oh, yeah, look at that. That looks pretty darn good, except I don't need that line on the top. Ooh. This could be difficult. All right. Just translate that guy up just a slight bit. There we go. There we go. Jeez. Let back down. And these guys back up. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's a nose. Let's do an eye. Now, if you watched the last one, and maybe you didn't, very few people did probably. Let's talk this one as being right. Okay. It's not his right eye, it's the eye that's on our right. So I tend to do these things. So scale composition on this one is actually going to happen because those eyebrows, I don't want them to get thin. I want them to kind of stay thick. So the line won't get thinner. It'll remain as thick as I said it here, which is kind of important. Okay, so I'm going to put a square in. And we're done. Robot eyes. Cyborg eyes. Well, you know, he could be, but looking at it, I would have... actually, now that I look back at my reference drawings, which of course you cannot see, he seems to have more roundish eyes than your standard Malarian does. So we're going to kind of put him here a little Sandorish. If you're into Star Blazers, or Sonadish if you're into the space battleship Yamato, which are criminally underrated in America, and even though the anime is on Crunchyroll, it's not very popular because it doesn't have schoolgirls or something. It's not an isekai. At that time I got reincarnated and stuffed on a space battleship. But I digress. Okay, now we're going to put up a new vector layer. It's going to be the school. It's going to be his pupil. Now they have beady eyes, very, very beady eyes. Never trust anybody with beady eyes. So probably untrue. So, but we don't need a stroke on this one, but we do need an autofill. So we're going to make his eye right about there. And that is white, and I can't see it. Let's see if that does it. There we go. All right. Good. Now let's translate this up a little bit to right about there. That eye is probably too tall. Bring this up a little. There we go. Ha. Very good. I'm also going to go ahead and put some lines underneath there, although he doesn't really have any showing up. He seems to be younger than what I'm thinking. So, no, I'm not going to do that at all. Never mind. I can be capricious, you know. All right, so we're going to put these two eyes into a file folder of their own, and it's going to be called right space eye. Okay. All right, on the head level, let's make sure that our origin point is set between the eyes, right between the eyes. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate by right-clicking, duplicate layer, and we'll change that over, and of course, it pops up on the other screen. I have to apologize. Left eye, and we're going to click OK. And the other thing we're going to do is let me bring that layer settings panel over here. Oh, there we go. Haha. Flip horizontally. Whoa, I flipped it way over there, but sometimes it's a little intuitive about where it should be placed. And this time it is not. We're going to use the layer translate tool to bring this guy back into shape. I did not set that, did I? That could be part of the problem right there. There we go. Let's set that right there. That right there. Bingo. Okay. Ooh. Set these eyes a little bit differently here. A little bit differently. So you can't get too much more because it'll be right in the middle of his right there. Okay, let's shoot back and see what we got here. Okay, on that face is bugging me. We're going to harden up this face a little bit here. So how do we do that? Well, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to angleize. Kind of get these a little bit more or less curved. Let me see here. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, now these two guys right here need to go out at a perfect. And also, oh, dagnabbit. Up on that button before I lift it up there. Aha. Okay, now. I use the Alt key to get the scaling on both sides. Just FYI. Just get one of those key tracker things here to show you what I'm doing. Bumbling like mad is what I'm doing. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Okay, how's that? Good. Now I am going to flare this guy out just a slight bit right there, like that. Like that. Good. All right. I mean, they being the same race as the other Captain of the Kyrden, he's going to look similar, but he's got to look different. That makes sense? Sure it does. Okay. Let's get some eyebrows on this guy. All right, it's going to be above the nose layer. That's how I usually start the eyebrows anyway. So let's go ahead and add in a new vector layer. That new vector layer is called right brow. Gonna take off that scale composition because we don't want that, and we don't need to have the layer sort on that. That's totally what we don't need. Absolutely none whatsoever. Negative. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up here, put shape into here, and I forgot to put stroke on that because, whoops. All right. So the eyebrows for the Monarchs. Van Graffs were like, they don't have hair on them. They're very bald, so they had very bulging kind of protrusions, and they're very tubular in the first episode. And I honestly, halfway through animating, I'm like, I don't really like this. Well, Van Graff was one of the first characters I created back in 2020 when I first started planning the series. So I kind of redid the eyebrows for episode 2. So we're gonna kind of follow that general appearance on these guys here. Double check real quick, make sure that we're not completely out in the field. No, that's not bad at all. Yes. There we go. And we're going to give that a curvature using the curvature tool. I usually kind of go between the no curve to auto curve and then just adjust from there. Again, this is how I do things, and not necessarily how I think you should do things. You should do things that make sense for you. And if this doesn't make sense for you, then I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure that there are other YouTube Moho users out there who do things quite a bit differently and probably somewhat more effectively than I do. But this is what works for me. What works for you may be different. And this may give you just some general ideas about, oh, I could do it that way, or you could see what I'm doing and why is he doing it that way when you could do it this way? And hey, you solved your own problem. Anyway, thing I like about Moho is that it's not that expensive, and also it is a singular purchase. You buy it once, you own it. And when the updates come by, you get a pretty good price break on them if you've got a previous version. So that is not bad at all. Okay, let's hit that origin point on that guy. There we go. All right, let's duplicate this. Ooh. Now see, they could change the name. Aha! One's light tap. I always try to double tap, and that's why it opens the panel. But now I do have to open the panel. Yeah, because I have to flip it horizontally. Check that box, flip it horizontally. Well, oof. Take the layer tool, and we're going to layer that guy over to here. Okay, now we've kind of got, you see where some problems our nose is. Okay, so that nose is going to have to go through a little bit of changing, but not much changing. Essentially, it's just going to have to come down. About there. Ooh, it makes it even, nose even look more squishier, which I kind of like that, so. All right, good deal. All right, so not bad so far. He needs a mouth now. He doesn't talk much. It's not too shouty. So I mean, would it be too much if I did the captain of the? Let's go down to here. Okay, this is the captain of the Kurdan model. I'm going down through here, and I'm just going to kind of look at his mouth right here and see if this is going to actually. No. I do like that though, in some respects, but no. He is not going to speak like this at all. No. I'm thinking of like a more Michael Rene-ish late series when Michael Rene was talking through his teeth a lot in his performances. Who's Michael Rene? Okay, well, he was in The Day the Earth Stood Still, not the Keanu Reeves one, but the 1951 directed by 54 one directed by Robert Wise. But he showed up in a lot of other things too. He was in a pretty good two-parter of The Invaders in 1960 TV series. He's also in, he's also in a season 1 episode there. He also played aliens in both ones. An invader, in fact. That two-parter, though, is really good because it had William Wyndham, Commodore Decker from the Doomsday Machine of Star Trek. Another tortured performance from him. He's also the doctor when in his later years. He became the doctor on who's friends with Jessica Fletcher on Murder, She Wrote. For years I thought he looked familiar, and then I realized, oh, it's the younger version of the doctor. So what we need now is we need a mouth. So we're going to do a vector layer here, and we're going to call this one closed right off the bat because we don't really need it to have that scale compensation. Hit OK. Let's go to here. Okay, so I'm going to try and make sure that the closed points are the same as when his mouths are open, so that way I can do the interpolation. And this is probably what I'm going to need right here. I'm just going to need a little bit of scaling on some of this stuff here. He's not going to be very happy, I don't think. Mostly because he's probably going to not be in this form for very long. Maybe he should be happier. Oh. Yeah, the Mazrod aren't humanoid-ish. They're not exactly super humanoid-y in all things. So let's see what we got here. Is that going to be any better? No, that'll be probably show white when you scale him up, but that's not too awful bad. Anyway, we're going to just go like that. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, could use a little bit of adjustment. It's not bad. Oof. Auto that one and turn that over there. There we go. Mm-hmm. Okay. Strength. Oops. Sorry, that's curvature. Strength adjust here. Gotta make that a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker. A little thicker, a little bit thicker. Thinner. Thinner. Whoa, too thick now. Thinner. Thinner. Hey, perfect. All right. Victory. So, let's zoom out and see what this looks like. Hey, not bad. He looks ominous enough, I think. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new group with this current selection in there, and this is going to be called, strangely enough, mouth. Wow, we're not spending a lot of time on the mouth. I'm going to make sure the scale composition is off there, for obvious reasons. Okay, so now we're just going to go to here, and we're going to duplicate this layer. And it's pretty much similar to what you last time, and we're just going to call this one 2. So if we'll go from closed to wide, basically 1 through 5, with wide being called 5 being called wide and 1 being called closed, and so you get different levels. But this, anyway, will allow. Let's go ahead and change that over to switch. Just over to switch layer, so we're only seeing 1 layer at a time. Okay, so now he's going to start talking. So we're going to just open it ever so slightly here. There we go. Bring these. Sorry. And G to select, T for transform. Those are your hotkeys. Right, there we go. That's better. Yes. All right, now I'm going to duplicate 2. 2.2. We're going to call that one 3. Wow, this is pulse pounding stuff, let me tell you. But, you know, this is gets you into the, just shows you the amount of work that goes into the creation of each character to work on in Moho. But if you put a decent amount of time into your models, I mean, yeah, they can be pretty good. The no model is going to be perfect. You can break probably any model that you make. And Yang Shen, a Chinese Moho artist, he's amazing, and he said just kind of get your model pretty good. Don't try and make it perfect, because you can kind of correct the mistakes on the fly, and that's what he does a lot. He does a lot of the using the point animation to change points that are out of phase and don't work right in his model when he's doing the animation, which is actually really brilliant. And he's super good at it, way better than I'll ever be. So. Okay. He's not going to be he's not going to be talking a lot, so he's just going to be talking just maybe only talking under his teeth like this. Oh no, it'd be up to the voice actor. I've got a pretty wide latitude on that sort of thing. I don't have a lot of direction. Like for the Malroz leader, I said I wanted to sound like Black Mana from the Challenge of the Super Friends cartoon. The co-voice. David Cassidy, I think. Lurch from Adam's Family. Rock from Star Trek. The voice of Godzilla from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Now, you've probably never seen that, never mind. That's really obscure. Deep cuts. Deep cut. Which was a disappointment. I was hoping that the Pluto's Godzilla channel was going to get the Hanna-Barbera series. They said they're going to get the 90s series, and I never saw it all there. They even played Gamera movies. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a lot. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now we're going to go to mouth here. Double clicking on the mouth. Okay, let's go and talk some things here. Ooh, all right. Sure, I got my scale composition off on all the mouth layers. Good, I turned it off on close and I was duplicating from there. That's great. All right, now I'm going to bring the mouth layers over here because we've got some things we got to do. Okay, on the switch thing, I don't have an audio track that I'm adding here, but this is what you would select. By clicking on this, you would select your audio track, MP3 of your voice actors, and it would automatically, based on the volume of that voice, select which mouth should be open, which mouth layer should be showing at any certain time. And you could do multiple files, so you don't have to like break up your files and have, or make one file with pauses in there for the other characters. You can just have multiple files and just keep clicking this until you get all those characters' files in there, and it will do that. It won't overwrite what you've done before. It will add to. Very clever. I don't know if that's a feature on every edition of Moho, but it's definitely like that in 14, which is what we're working on today. So we're going to do the interpolate sub-layers. Okay, so this will be like a much smoother. It will make keyframes in between each of the mouth movements. So instead of it like quickly opening and closing, there will be several frames between positions when needed. So not bad. Click OK on that. Once I get back to that screen. Oh, she got a bigger monitor. All right, well, anyway. Oh, maybe next time I'll get the next HUIN up. Or Wacom. Or Surface, I don't know. Choose your poison. Or Xpen. I've used HUIN and I've used Wacom, and they're both pretty compatible. Comparable, I would say, in their effectiveness. But my HUIN has the a screen protector on it. That is a paper texture because I cannot draw on plastic. I'm not of that generation. I still need that paperistic resistance when I'm drawing because that's what I've drawn on most of my life. Now, I'm sure the next generation who's drawn mostly on screens is probably really good at just drawing on plastic. But for me, that feels wrong. Okay. Rant over. Move on to the next one. Okay, so that is our mouth layer. Let's go ahead and set it for closed. Okay, so this guy is looking pretty good. Relatively speaking, anyway. So, what are we going to need now? Well, we're going to need some ears. Well, instead of like redrawing the ears from scratch, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our Captain of the Kierden here, and we're gonna snag an ear. Selecting his ear layer, hitting copy. Gonna go back to the officer thing, hit save, always hit save. Saving is like voting. It's save early, save often. Yes, I am from Illinois. All right, we're gonna call this the right ear, even though I think I grabbed the left ear. It doesn't matter, I'll make it work. And make sure scale composition is ticked off. Now I'll probably go back through before I actually do any of the rigging stuff to make sure all the scale composition off. But let's make sure that that is below the face. And I'm gonna paste. Hey, what do you know? It's in the right space. All right, so his skin color seems to be slightly different. Or is it? Yes, it is. Yay me for giving some tonal differentiation between the various characters' skin colors. Wow. All right. Again, the Malarans are let's kind of check his character sketch here. The Malarans, I'm going to do a little bit of a twist out too. Okay, so the Malarans have pointed ears and fangs. And the Sulans also have pointed ears and fangs. But Malarans are, of course, cool gray. The Sulans are warm gray. And Mlarn's ears, the points curve to the back, whereas the Sulin's ears curve to the front. So, talking about the difference. Points to a common origin or something like that. Yes, perhaps it does. Maybe a plot point. It may not be, too. Anyway. The Leonids are totally not related to either of these guys, even though they have fangs. They also have fangs, yeah? But they have cat eyes, so. Leonine mesomorphs, you know. Okay, so we're going to flip horizontally, and I did not set the origin point, did I? I did not. Oof. Alright, we're getting closer. There we go. Layer translate tool. Knock this guy over. We're going to set the origin point on. Oh, I don't think I did that on the mouth either. I probably didn't. There we go. Alright, let's make sure that that mouth origin point for each of the mouth layers is set, because when we're translating the head turn, we'll need to have that like so in order for it to work properly. Absolutely. Okay, this guy's looking pretty good. He doesn't look 150% like our last guy. And we need to get back into the face a little bit here. Not the face. Yes. Yes, the face. Okay, we're going to put a little bit of that on there. Okay, so. Okay. Oop, there we go. That's just, I just pulled that completely off. Yeah. Ewop. Okay, so let's readjust this a little bit, because he's not 100% symmetrical. The side's like, maybe got hit on that side. I don't know. Put it right about there. How far away are we there? And there's a little bit difference in that. Well, I think it'll be fine. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, not bad. His eyes settled just a little bit wider. Oops, didn't mean to translate. Scale. Oops, I just went. Gotta remember, you can't hit the arrow keys in Moho. You'll start moving the position of what frame you're on in the timeline, which is bad. Very, very bad. Okay. So there we go. I think we're ready for some hair. Alrighty then. Let's see here. I'm gonna activate a new vector layer. That's layer 10. We're gonna call this hair front. Okay, now I gotta get into layer settings, make sure scale compensation, jeez, enunciate, it's off. And it is. Wow. So, and let's set the origin for right about here. And let's go up a little bit to see the top of his head. Okay, so a similar haircut as the Captain of the Kyrden. See, he's kind of got this buzz cut going on here, but his is going to be a lot more angular, much more Guile-esque than our. Sir, yeah, they totally look. Yeah, I say they look different enough to say that these are two different characters. This guy kind of looks like a very upset goblin right now. Maybe he's Corporal Goblin or Lieutenant Goblin. I don't know. He'd probably be an officer. Probably would be an officer. Let's see, the Mazra wasting the whole shape change thing on a non-com. Nothing against non-coms. I'm just saying that body snatchers probably tend to not go for you guys. They tend to go for the higher ranking officers. What did the War of the Worlds TV series do? Did they actually do corporals? Probably not first, though. So, like I said, he's kind of got a similar hairstyle, but I don't want it to be completely that's too similar to that. So, we're going to have to play with this a bit in order to get it where he's at. Wow. Okay, yeah, let's make him have a little bit of a lesser hairline. There we go. Maybe a little bit more severe in some cases. Okay, let's put some more points into here. And yeah, a few more. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Find the top of his head. This isn't the back of his head. Here, that's okay. Okay, let's take those two right here, and we're going to say, ka-chow. Boy, that did not work out the way I was hoping it would, because this guy's are pretty, yeah. Yeah, okay, well, let's just do this then. Yeah. Okay, let's move that point out there. Okay, so let's say this is his hairline. Let's hide some of these other lines that we don't currently need. Okay. Okay. It's not bad. Yeah, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move that point in and this point down. And this point's going to move in and wowzers. And this point's going to move down. And there we go. Okay. Was humming about his hair color. Well, in my preliminary drawing, the one I have, storyboards, I have him in storyboards, but he's not in color. The one that's in color has him with light blue hair, and I don't really kind of like that idea. That's not great. Let's see what those look like. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know about that. One of those dealy bobs. Okay, let's put some sideburns on him and maybe put the hair back on first. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so we're going to put the hair underscore back. Okay, so he's got it's another buzz cut, but I don't want it to be too angular because we don't want to compete with the magnificent hair of our captain of the Kirdin. So we're going to kind of do one of these dealings, holding the Alt key to kind of shrink that in a bit. Okay, now let's add some more points. Use the point transfer. Whoa, don't want this rotate, we want to down. Okay. Well, that looks like he's got a space helmet on. But he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Okay. That's not too bad. Okay, we'll put one there, I'm gonna put one there, and one there, and one there. Okay, now let's move these points around so as we can get a little bit more of a... he's got a head. Yikes. It's up to here. Okay. Well, I don't hate it. So that's always a plus. Okay, let's change that over. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Very efficient, very military, very serious. He looks like he's serious. He looks like he's serious, so I think he should have a serious haircut. Yeah, we'll put the sideburn right above the face layer. Oh, dang it. Probably won't have too severe sideburns, but let's see here. Put that right into there. And again, just in case I forgot, which I think I did on the last one, I've got to tell scale compensation, that go to the hair back, make sure that that is the case there. I did not. I tell you what, shouldn't be defaulted on, but I'll figure out what that is and change it eventually, so I won't have to keep doing it. And that's probably about the time that I'll decide that I do want it on. Yeah, never happy. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, there should be enough points. We don't need too many here. Just need to kind of line up with our doodads. I need that. Yeah, I will. Back and forth how many points I need. I think I do need that. So that'll be fine. That'll be. Oh, well, see there, you didn't get the hair back down enough, did I? Nope. Dang it. Because that needs to cut into the ear so it doesn't show up. Yeah, so see where it's at on the other side? Oh, yeah. Okay. Just have to adjust this sideburn ever so slightly. Make sure that is set for, yeah. Okay, there we go. That's not bad. There's a hair color there. Let's see what we've got. Oh, yeah. Not bad. Okay. Now we're going to duplicate this layer, and we're going to rename it. And we're going to double click, and we need to flip horizontally, so check that box there. So it's right on your main panel whenever you double click on it, and bam, there it is. And now we're just going to use the layer translate tool to translate the layer to the other side and make sure he lines up. And this looks decent. Well, there's a little bit of a difference between the two, so that's just not bad. So, definitely could be worse. All right, there we go. All right. So bam, there we go. We have a head. Let's see what that hair back is. To the neck, I think it's going to be fine. Okay, that guard head is looking good. So. Before we add in the Vitruvian bones, we're going to go ahead and attach this guy to the rig. And then I will add in the Mara's head. Okay, so let's do that. Gonna go down here. Okay, now we select sorry. The order was out. The hair back should be in the back. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so I have used the bone select tool here while I was on the layer. Now I'm going to use the point select tool. We're going to select all the points. You can also hit select R, whichever works for you. You can hit bind points. Bam, they're bound because they're now the color of this bone. And well, since these ears have used from a similar rig, read almost virtually the same. Rig of a rig. I didn't have to really reset those very much. These are cost saving measures, as you would say. In the currency that we're saving is time. That for that layer, but we do have to make sure that everything is bound properly. That nose is probably way more complicated than it should be. But, oh well. Ooh, I skipped a layer, but I did that on purpose, because now I'm going to go back through here, make sure that all of these guys are bound. Now, back to Captain Curtin here. Ooh, it looks like he's got on his nose, he's got a layer. He's got a little shape right here. It's a transparency. I'm going to copy those points, and we're going to put that onto our guard officer's nose. I guess he wouldn't be listed as called the guard officer. So pasting in, wowzers. Well, I really made a different nose on this guy, so it's a little out of the ordinary. Make sure that you're, since he's going to be enlarged, and when he enlarges, ooh, that sounds dirty. Whenever he's enlarged on the screen, there we go. Better. The shadow will stick close to the line because its line thickness will remain the same. Therefore, if there are any gaps, they will show up. That does not need to be nearly as far down because his nose kind of hangs down quite a bit. Pow. Select all. Got that guy selected? Yes. Got that guy selected? See, already bound. Already bound and ready for action. Okay, not bad. Now let's take a look at this head in relation to the body. Wow, well, it's kind of large. Well, yes, it is. All right, wow. All right, let's get that origin point for the main head here, and let's make sure the heads are there. Okay, the heads are there. Wow, that's good. All right. Poof. So holding down the key, we're going to shrink this guy's head down to be a little bit more in proportion to his body. Let's go take a look now. Yeah, well, we're close. We're close. Ooh. Let's go over to here. Let's see what we got. Not bad. Much better, yes. All right. Okay, since everything is now attached to the head, now let's test that attachment. I'm seeing some rando bones here that I don't think he needs. They were probably for sash and cape. He doesn't have a sash and cape though. So this was probably a rig that actually started as Van Graff back in the day. I think Van Graff was the first one, and then I did Dahlgren, and then I did the tech. So Dahlgren basically has the same body as Van Graff, but the lines have been, of course, repositioned, and he's been scaled a little bit here and there. And the tech is basically the same, just different insignia levels and button levels. That doesn't look bad. But before I go on, yes, before I go on, let's go to the face. In your face. Okay, let's get that shadow there, and we're gonna pop it onto our guard officer over here and adjust from there. Let's go down to the face level. Yeah, so we've been at this about an hour and 15 minutes, and we made excellent progress here. But it's going to take quite a bit to get completely done here. So let's try the paste. Okay, so not too bad. It's going to take quite a bit of adjustment though. Yeah, we have to scale up to here, and now we'll just reposition each individual point so that you got to be careful to keep within the lines of. And that's not bad. Like that. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, I have to get in way closer. Can't do this from 30,000 feet. It's my big flaw, is that I like to do things from on high. Sometimes you got to get in close, into the trenches, as it were. Well, one of my many flaws, I should say. My main character flaw is that I can't do a short story. Oh my goodness, I can't come up with a decent one. So all my things end up being long form, and by long form, I mean like hundreds of episodes long. Well, at least incredibly long enough that it would seem to be very daunting. See, the current Indavo series being 20, well, the last one was 23 minutes, so it was 24 minutes long episodes. I should see counseling. Yeah. Well, why is it that you think you can't do a short story? Well, you'll see. When I was a young lad. No. Anyway, so there we go. Okay, let's make sure that all of this is tied in to the proper. What it is, let's just make sure. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we have a guard with a head. Right to the body. Ooh, is it though? Let us find out. Okay, so now we're going to just see what we've got here, and okay, so I'm deciding if I'm hallucinating or not. Wow, what's going on here? Okay, something weird is going on. So that's what I call an unexpected outcome. Extraordinary. So, well, I don't know what's going on here. So, well, interesting. There is distortion going on here. It's uniform. It's definitely because of the layering, I guess. See, okay. So what's happening is that his head's squishing. Never going to the side. There are no actions on this bone. So, question is why are there no actions on this bone? That's weird. Okay, well, this is a weird thing happening. Okay. Oh yeah, there's definitely distortion going on. Why is there distortion going on? Alright, clone layer. Select all, do we got here? What's going on here? There's no bone strengths. Negative bone strengths. Translate tools going weird. What is going on here? Aha! I see. Okay. Okay, it looks like there are still some actions previously here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them just in case that's causing some sort of strange interference. Sometimes you'll get that. And this is, of course, a problem. No, it's not solving the problem at all. Man, well, it's okay. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Something which can be corrected on the fly on the backside. Just keep an eye out for it. Note to self. Head scales sideways when tilting. All right, so we have heads. So what we're going to do, indeed, is we're going to try this to see if it'll actually work. Okay. Oops, sorry. Wrong guy. So these into Vitruvians, right? Yes, I think I can do this. So, so what you're gonna do is we're gonna convert this into a bone layer like so. Bam. Oops. Something happened. There we go. Okay, make sure it's still in place. This is a switch. Okay, now, I have a bone layer on the head. Now, let me double check storyboards. Yep. Okay, looks like he's only going to need one blink control, one brow control, and he'll need a head up, down, and a turn. Bam. Okay, first thing we do is all those strings on those, take those down to 0. Now we need to relink those guys. Do we need? Yeah, we do. Can I relink them? This is a little bit of an experiment because I've never quite done it this way, but I believe that you can do it this way now. So I'm just going to make sure that everyone is linked properly or not linked at all. Be problematic down the road. Okay. We will find out, shan't we? Okay, so let's name these bones that we put in here. So, like I said, I've made a bone layer out of the group called head_guard. And this is because there are going to be another head eventually, the Mara's head, and he will have his own bone controls, and slightly more complicated because of different eye blinks and stuff like that. So, I'm going to see if I can import the Mara's head and place it here. And then relink the layer bones to this head bone here. Not the layer points to this head bone here. And it'll have its own control rig that I'd be able to switch between. So when he transforms, I won't have to mat in the head in the most jankiest fashion imaginable. So anyway, All right, let's call this one browse. Browse. And show that name right there. So this is going to be the Blink 182. I'm sorry, just Blink. That label right there. This is head, up, down, down girl, town girl. Just thinking of an old song. Anyhow, and this is going to be his turn. And he'll have to have the whole cheval as far as that goes. It's going to have to go 360 degrees. Now, okay, what you're saying, wait a second. The Maras are kind of limey green, and he's kind of just cool grayish blue color. So when he changes over, he's going to have a blue neck. No, I'll change that in the layer point animation, whenever he transfers over. And I'm going to put some extra hands on him. I think I should do that right now. Well, yeah, I probably should. Let's go ahead and do that right now whilst I think of it. All right, so he's got hands. And as you probably know, let's see what hands he's got. Oh, he's got a plethora of pointy hands here doing things. Oh, he's even got like an energy weapon hand. Very nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. But he'll need some monster hands when he's a Maraz. So, on that point, let's go to our, let's go to open characters, and let's go to that Leo leader. Leonides. Except Leo girl has her own file. She's not a full rig. It's only from like the torso up, so. Unfortunate, you know. Put cat girls in there thinking that, you know, because then it's only in the first episode. Shh, it'll be fine. See, I tried something similar here and it didn't quite work, but this time I will find. See, his hands also don't need to be anything other than the. Let's see what I've got here. Yeah, let's get in closer because I can't quite see what I've got here. That might not be a bad one. I'm gonna grab. Oh, not that one. That one. That one. That one. Pointy, direct, pointy. That's this one right here. I think is going to fit the bill. Check storyboards. Fit the bill precisely. Although I'm going to have to do a little bit of rearranging on that, but I'm going to nab that right now. So copy, bam. And now we're going to go back to our guard officer. Okay, so let's find the hands. I'm going to say on the left hands here. We're going to go here. We're going to go new. Sure. MR Hand. Mr. Hand. No comment. Let's paste that in there, and oh my gosh, that's ginormously huge. And also wrong. That's wrong. Okay. So turn that way. Yes, it will basically be right, but I'll have to flip it slightly. Okay, so I'm just going through. Shrink this guy down a little bit. It doesn't have to be this ginormously huge. Let's make sure that scale compensation's off. Ooh, it is not. Okay, so generally speaking, this is not a bad hand. This will suit most of our purposes. Most of them. I'll rotate it into the right position. All right, there we go. Hold there. Okay, so the things I don't need is I don't need that line, and I don't need that line. And what I'm going to do on these shapes is I'm going to... actually, do I need them? I don't need the points, do I? But what I need to do on these guys is I need to lower them back, and lowered back. And he's going to be getting a grip on somebody. The grip of doom on somebody. Go ahead and get rid of those guys because we don't need them. They were actually duplicates. Weirdly enough. Okay, so we need to kind of change the orientation of this thumb, taloned thumb here. So, shape change techniques that they use were originally going to be a little bit more inspired by like Rom the Space Knight. Again, I'm kind of giving you all my references. But I decided to go with something a little bit less gruesome, as like a barbed tongue coming out and eating a brain. That seems a little bit much. How'd they get away with that in the 70s and 80s comics? I'll never know. But what I think we're going to do is a little bit more on to what the Zandozans do in The Last Starfighter. Now, if you've never seen The Last Starfighter, Zandozans are interstellar hit beast, and they're out to kill the Last Starfighter. He's just some schlub from Southern California. And we see one actually kind of take a police officer's form. The Zandozan's hiding in the back seat. The police officer gets in the car, smells something terrible, turns around, and this big monster comes up, grabs him, and they start glowing. There's lots of light coming from the cab. Next time you see him, he looks like the police officer. So we don't know what happened. If this is just some sort of technological thing, or what sort of form stealing, body snatching goes on. We don't know what happened to the police officer. Obviously, he probably got killed, but we don't know if his body was disintegrated or whatnot. But anyway, in this one, we're going to get a lot of light and then like a dust effect. So there we go. A merging of the two. And much better than like kind of War of the Worlds type stuff, where, the aliens in there, in the TV series, I should say, from the 80s, did still forms, and they couldn't be detected, except the fact that they'd be radioactive, and suddenly a human being would weigh almost double what they did before, because now it has an alien inside because of cell phase matching ? And the aliens aren't very good about cleaning up their messes. I mean, they take over they're in a human body, they take over another human body, they leave their previous hosts as a mass of bubbling broken cells on the floor with all their ID and clothes and everything. So you'd be able to, if you put the little pins on the map, you'd be able to kind of pinpoint kind of back to where these waves of abductions and finding clothes and identification and broken human cells on the floors back to their general area where they're originating from, and then you just kind of cross-reference that with the known radioactive cave systems, and boom, you've got their headquarters! What were you doing, Blackthorn? Blackthorn? Yeah. The main character, so. Colonel Ironside should have figured that out in like 2 seconds. I don't know. Sorry, Richard Chavez. They kind of made your character stupid, but it's supposed to be Delta Force too. Come on. Blackwell is supposed to be Dr. Clayton Forrester's stepson, so not that Clayton Forrester, the one from the 1950s movie, not the one that hangs out with T.B. Frank and has a mother. Okay, hey, this is looking pretty good, so we're gonna go with this. Let's find some. Oh, well, that would have worked if I'd had enough points in that. The more you put things together, the more they fly apart. That's entropy in action for you. Add a few more points on here to make this work the way I want it to. It'll be fine. Check the time. I've been at this an hour and a half. We could probably go until another about half an hour and call it quits for the day. Being that this is a no, really, did I put the wrong point in the wrong position? A good day's work on a Saturday, a stormy Saturday. I've got to work this in between storms once again. Normally I'd have the windows open right now, but you'd hear all the sounds of beautiful downtown Energy, Illinois. Okay, let's rig this hand. Let's rig this hand. To that bone. Partially. Not all the points go to that one, but most of them will. Bind points. All right. But you're saying, what about those three? Where are they going? They're going to go to the actual arm bone, not the hand bone. That way, when you move this thing, these stay attached to the wrist area. Ah, clever. Now, learn by screwing up, and let me tell you, I've screwed up a lot. Enough about my personal life. Let's double check that modulation on that guy real quick. Make sure that we are... Oh, yeah, it's nice. All right, good deal. Let's go to that right hand. We're going to do a new vector layer on that guy. And we're going to do MR hand R for right. Double click on that and go into the layer settings panel, get rid of that scale compensation once again. And let's put that right here and let's go east. Oh, we're way over here. Okay, well, still ginormous. This is gonna be fine. Be fine. Now this hand will probably remain as it generally... Ooh, dang. What were you thinking? I don't know. All right. Well, anyway, that's going to remain about like there. As close to perfection as I can possibly get. So let's go ahead and rig these points up there. And let's bind those 3 points right here. And let's test that out. Excellent. Beautiful. Save. And let's turn his hands back to the... Sorry, I knocked into a bunch of stuff and that kind of made a lot of weird noises. I apologize for that. Back to his regular hand. Get rid of his alien... Well, he's an alien. More alien hands. Well, alien to him. Okay. Okay, let's see about this head situation that we've got here. Okay, we don't need our alien leader. We're going to get rid of him. We don't need to save that. Okay, so what we're going to do is... I'm going to attempt. Yes. Let's make sure some things are set first. Okay, I'm going to attempt to take and import this file and put it into the head folder. So that way we can switch between them. And these would be like the Vitruvian bones. I think this is entirely possible. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, not quite Vitruvian bones, but I didn't use the Vitruvian bone tool. But this is the same theory as Vitruvian bones. So, we'll see. Okay, let's check out each head file. Make sure that each layer has the scale compensation is off. Because I was getting some weird things on the mouth last time. Bingo. All right, everything looks good there. Now for the moment of truth. File, we're going to import. Moho object is what we're going for. And now let's find in our characters folder the Mara's head. I never rigged up a full body. I don't have them until episode 5 in full body format. But at that time, I will probably do the full body rig. It would be cool. It will be. Okay, we're going to import these guys, not by reference. Ooh. Well, I'm going to put him into heads. Okay, he's in heads now. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, astounding. Wow, that's just everything I could have possibly have hoped for. Okay, I'm going to have to do some line thickness control here because... yeah, he's got some thick lines around him that necessarily don't need. Okay, so let's go to here. Yes. All right, not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, okay, okay. Let's get some of these. Whoa. Ooh. If this is possible, I don't know. Let's see what we got here. Wow. Oh gosh, he's at 6 points. That would be why. And let's bring him down. Now, the big problem in this is that I'm hoping that I don't have the bones actually controlling the line thickness. Because if that happens, then we're going to get some funky things happen. And get those brows down. There we go. I probably created this guy pretty early on and just not, well, just didn't alter the enough. And, okay, let's get some of these eyes under a little bit more control here. These guys down to 2. All right, hey, that's not bad, not bad. This might work. I'm beginning to get a little bit more optimistic about it. Let's go back to the head. Dagnabbit. All right, let's go back up to the nose. Gotta get the bottom nose piece here. Ah, hell. Let's line think that down a little bit. Hey, this is actually starting to look decent. Let's change that ear format just a slight bit if you don't mind. There we go. Bring this ear over here in a little bit. See, this problem with the line thickness being thin is that if it were thick, it probably would have linked up no problem. But now that it's thinner, it doesn't. But I like the effect, and I'm going with it, even though it causes me endless headaches and problems. So. All right. Ooh, now we got to get this mouth. Words out on interesting mouth system. So the reason why those little mouth portal things, I don't know what to call them actually, aren't on their own separate layers, own separate shapes, is that I made the chin, and then I used the eraser tool to erase little holes, and then I shaped those holes into the portals, face portals. I don't know. The funky ass aliens. So there we go. And there we go. Alrighty. Hey. That don't look half bad. Now comes the part where I've got to find this dude, all these head parts. The skeleton. Well, I see where it is. Yes, I see what's going on here. It's got his own skeletal rig on there. No, I say thee nay. It shall not be. No, I'm going to. Yeah. Okay. Calm down. We're going to take these guys here and take that guy here. No, you can't. I gotta get rid of it. It's gotta go. Okay. Now, you may say, wait a second, but what about... No. Hang on. Watch. I'm gonna take all these layers, and I'm gonna toss them out on just the regular bone layer. And oh my god, everything's gone crazy! It's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Trust me. We're going to bind all these points, and then we're going to toss him back in, and we'll reshape him then. There's no point in attempting to reshape now, because that will obviously not work. I'm also checking as I'm doing all this to make sure the scale compensation is off on all these guys. Okay, there we go. Hitting select R. Make sure I still have my bone selected. Make sure I still have this. Hitting bind points. Speed and efficiency. Efficiency and speed. And will this work? Well, one hopes. So let's take this back down to the heads and put this back guy into the... Oh! My gosh! Has it worked? Denied. Okay. Alright, so that did not work at all. Okay, so... Okay, so we have some problems here. Let's see what we got going on here. Into 0. So I'm trying to bind. There. But alas, go to here. Oh, it's working. Okay, good. All right. Hey, all right. So it works. Yay. Okay, so now he's bound. All right. Woo. All right. I was beginning to panic ever so a bit. But now we've got problems. And that the head up and down has gone wacky. I don't want to bind to that layer. I want to break that binding. So, okay, let's go back a little bit. Okay, hang on. Okay, let's go back a little bit more. Okay, back to where it's not. It's not bound at all. Shoot. All right. Dang it. Okay, well that's head up down, so the best thing to do when you've got something bound to that is just to delete that guy out. We're just going to delete that guy. He doesn't exist anymore. He's gone. He was never even there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a new bone, and we're going to put that head up and down back in here. But let's put some angle constraints on this guy. We want 90 and 90. Close, and we're going to change the name of that bone to head up down, which is the existing smart bone setup. Okay, and now let's see what happens. Oop. See what happens. Well, nothing happens because, oh wait, we do have some things going on. Oh, That's wonderful. All right, so, but the head up and down doesn't work. Okay, so in order to make the head up and down work, we're going to have to go into our actions and reattach this new bone, which we called head up down, to this command that we have made previously. Okay, we've got some time for that. So let's do that. Okay, so let's go to here. And let's figure out which way he's going. Is he going up or down? He's going up first. Okay, so we're going to go up to 4 or 5. When does he stop moving? Let's say he stops moving at 5. Okay, so we're going to go to 5. And that we're going to hit the rotate one, and we're going to rotate all the way up. Makes a little keyframe there. You know that you're in your smart bones. Again, smart bones are actions, are programming for dummies. You program that anytime this bone behaves in this manner, these lines are going to behave in this manner. Now, also behaving weirdly in this manner, you can see that these lines have re-thickened up, and we don't necessarily want that in this case. So we need to go into the face layer and find out what's going on. What's going on in the face layer? Let's see. Well, there's some thickening when there shouldn't be any thickening, so we can fix that fairly quickly. I'm just going to select these points here, which I believe are causing the problem. And we're going to go to the point line thickness tool and shift that down just a slight bit, and bam! That's good. I notice that the nose also does this. But we just need one bit of that nose, that bit right there, and that bit right there. We're going to take those guys down, and aha! Bingo! All right, so that's one bit of the programming. That's still a little thick up there. So let's go back down to that head layer. And let's change the shoop down just a little bit more. There we go. Actually, let's do that one by itself. Those other ones are okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Save. Leave the rest in there. Okay, so that's the head up. Let's do the head down. Okay, let's go back to our bone layer here. Back on the main line. Back to the main line. Okay, we got this heads up right here. Watch. Hold. Now we're going to go into our head down too. So we already know that we're heading in the downward direction, since now it's going to be tilting downward. Ah, and it's thickened up again. Isn't that interesting? Must have had some preset there. Previously, I must have been fiddling with those. I don't know particularly why, but again, I did make this rig probably quite some time ago. But maybe hadn't quite settled on where I was going to land as far as like Indavo's overall visual style for the characters. So, you know. There are a lot of characters in Indavo, and episode 3 is going to see a slew of new races. You've got Smoth, Solexis, Emperor Dagon, Calais, Spumate, who talks like this. Yes, that's Peter Lorre. And I'm sure Peter Lorre never said, but Looney Tunes made him say that, so everyone does it. Let's see if anything weird is happening with the mouth. Mouth layers are staying pretty consistent in there, so that's good. All right, we're going to call this head rigging done for the Mazeraz section. Like I said, that neck color will be changed whenever the switchover is made. I'm going to get rid of this panel back over here. And see where we're at. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So that would lead us now for the smart bone rigging on the guard head. Huh, nice. All right. Like I said, he's going to be a lot more simpler on things. But before I do that, there's something I've got to positively do. And that is, I've got to mask out those eyes. And I think that's where we're probably going to end up calling it quits, especially after I will probably doubtlessly end up fighting this mask. Again, it's counterintuitive. It's usually the exact opposite of what you think it should be. So I'm going to go down to here. Okay. So I masked out this layer. Ah, well, what do you know? One and done. Well, I've got the hang of that masking thing. Okay, so what we're going to do. I'm going to go to here to the right eye, and let's bring it in, shall we? Okay, there's settings. Okay, so we're hitting hide all. Okay, and then we're going to hit OK. At the bottom of that panel, pow. All right, so now we open it up. It says that the right pupil is being masked, and the right eye is added to that mask. All right, check out that. It's no problem, right? Sweet. Let's see if that actually worked. I'm going to grab that pupil. Grab that pupil there. Oh, you look at that dirty dog situation. I did not get that pupil origined up properly. And there we go. Wow. It's marvelous. All right. Well, there we go. Okay, so that's basic character creation and basic rigging. We're going to, and a little bit of smart boning. Now, next time we do this, we are going to get into the full-on head turn for this guy, because he's going to have to turn in 360 degrees. Oops, got to set the head back to the guard. There we go. Defaulted on that one. Okay, so basically what's going to happen, and normally I'd have the head turn with the body. It's going to have to be done in its own separate layer this time because I've got the two heads. Again, this probably could have been done with Vitruvian bones. So if I had done Vitruvian bones, so if I had selected here, and let's just see something real quick. Select here, Vitruvians. Oh, I see. I could have selected that and turned that into a Vitruvian group. Well, next time there will be another character we'll have a head swap. I'll do it that way. Yeah, it should be fine on that score. So anyway, what we have is a pretty decent character. So he's going to have to turn in 360 degrees. So as you can see here, the body turns, the head doesn't, but we will rig it so that the head will follow the back. And you may be saying, well, what about the backside? What's going on there? See, okay, that was just because it was on frame 0. Sometimes you have to get off frame 0 to see the full effect of your layer ordering within the layer. The shapes raising and lowering on the layer by getting off the 0 frame. And the other thing, unfortunately, this obviates the use from, is if you're using this kind of body turn where your layers are swapping and your shapes are hiding behind one another, your really cool motion blur that doesn't like have the 3 frames that are faded out that actually has the blurred like motion, you can't use it because it messes it up. Now we'll try a render and see if it'll work, because they're always improving the render engines. So hopefully they have figured out how to make that work, but so far I've not, because I tried it on several Indavo productions and it has not worked out. But if you've got a more flatter character, or a character made out of Photoshop shapes, I'm sure it would work wonderfully. I used to do the Photoshop shapes, but I could only push the rigs so far. I like the idea of turning the rigs in 360 degree space. So we don't need this keyframe there, because that will mess us up. So we're going to leave it right there. And so there you go. This is 2 hours of work on it, and it's not the full body creation, and that takes longer, even longer to get through. Oh my gosh. That's why I tend to recycle a lot, especially if they're similar uniforms and whatnot. At one point, I will be creating a Asulan security officer or soldier type, and he'll just be based on kind of the Asulan crew members, kind of like the hockey helmets, the red hockey helmets. That hockey helmet will go away, the uniform will turn to yellow. Facial features probably remain about the same, but they'll have more like a helicopter pilot ensemble with 2 ovals on either side of the head and kind of an oval on the top of the head, and then like a helicopter visor pilot visor thing. So of course, instead of being like white, that will be definitely that kind of more mustardy color to make it seem like there is some sort of camouflage pattern. Because I believe even in space warfare, you should have something of camouflage. Empire of the Sword doesn't believe that. No, their soldiers are armored head to toe in green and grayish armor. So maybe that's camouflage for their planet, Desert Prime. Sulan soldier being a mustardy, sandy color would probably make sense because Sul has seen better days. It got bombarded pretty badly, and we will be seeing that in episode 5. Not the bombardment, but the after effects of that bombardment. But the Sulans have lots of colony planets and dominion planets, and there's hundreds of thousands of worlds and sizes of colonies from small farming communities to billions of people living on them. This is a galaxy-wide conflict here. So anyway, that's our security dude. And like I said, remember to like and subscribe. And hey, if you've not checked out Indavo, episode 3.0, episode 1, it's available. It came out a week ago last night, and it's doing okay-ish. It hasn't blown up or anything like that, but it's not bad. Especially for a long-form animated video of it's quality. The space scenes are quite good. But like I said, that's the assignment. The assignment is to kind of match out what the Doctor Who reconstruction animation teams are doing, and match that level of quality. I think the compositing, at least my humble opinion, in mine, is better than the Underwater Menace. And although I don't mind the more cartoony look of Galaxy 4 and the Abominable Snowman, and it's just that the Underwater Menace, compositing is it kind of takes the style that they used in Evil of the Daleks, and it doesn't quite do without all the compositing. It's very flat. I was surprisingly impressed by the Celestial Toymakers 3D animation, which I thought looked kind of jarring at first, but actually worked rather amazingly well. So this is a very surreal episode anyway. So kudos to them on that. So anyway, that's me burbling about Doctor Who animation videos and how I'm trying to match that quality. So I'm a one-man operation. I see someone that has Wolfie the Prince has joined us. Hey Mal, how you doing? So anyway, that's the whole 9 yards. It's a lot of work, and like I say, we'll keep at it and we'll try it again next time. So see you later.